So first let's have a look at it right now. You can see that this is the window focus. So we're going to have a look at the number 2 here, and we're going to have a look in the layers palette as to how this outer glow effect was created. We're not going to focus on the fill inside the 2 or the lettering effect. That will be done in a separate tutorial. So let's go back to the layers palette, and I'm going to click on it right now to open it. And right next to the end of layer 68, which is the number 2, I'm going to click on the effects button. So I'm just going to double click on that right now. And this is going to open up the layers style palette. Now these layers can be, of course, these layer styles, can be copied or pasted between multiple sets within Photoshop. But let's focus specifically on outer glow and how to apply it. If I first turn off outer glow, and I go back to that window for focus, I can see here that when I'm looking at this outer window, I can see that that's made the 2 look flat. So let's put it back on. And we can see that by putting it back on, the emphasis is back on the 2. So I'm going to have a look at a couple of the elements inside this window. And that is blend mode, the element technique, and the quality. First of all, the blend mode is set up deliberately by default as screen. And that screen means that whatever is showing through the residual layer, that is the layer on top of it, will show through in the layer beneath. So if I look at some of the different blend modes, I can automatically change those blend modes, and it will affect the ultimate way that this design looks. I can also look at something called opacity, and if those of you who are Photoshop heads will know, opacity is simply the amount of light or the amount of the object that you let through. The more opaque something is, the less of the object that will show through the layer beneath. The more opacity, in other words, the less the percentage, the more of it shows through. So if I was to lower that opacity from 51% to 22%, and then have a look at my design, we can see that it's decreased. If I was to increase the opacity back to 56% or perhaps 100% in this case, and go back to the window, we can see now that that glow is very, very prominent, and it's not letting any of the design beneath it show through. So by default it was set up for 51, so we're going to put it back to 51. And there you have it. That should give you some sense of how the blend mode in outer glow works.